As we look at the benefits of that expertise that you have as a biker, I mean, that's huge. I think that it's helped me significantly. And so I really have appreciated that. And the nice thing that I saw, I hadn't been a part of your world before. I got to get a little glimpse of it when I did that Schwamigan race. But what I really noticed was, hey, there's like a whole bunch of people at the finish line that I met that like, oh, you know Dr. John? I know Dr. John. And then, but not only do they know you, they were all saying, oh, he's giving me some really good tips, tips I use today, tips I've used in the past. And so I just thought about, that expertise, that knowledge has helped me. It can help so many other people. So that's why I think these videos are going to be just really helpful for people as they get into biking. Most of these people watching these videos are not going to be people that are going to be professional cyclists, but again, I think that they're a lot like me. That's one thing I noticed was that a lot of the people were in that 30 to maybe even 70, but I would say the majority of people were 30 to 60 years old. It's not just a pastime for them anymore. It's a pastime plus it's fun. It's like we're in a whole
it's a
community. Yep, absolutely. And so I really enjoyed that and just saw like, okay, how do we get this information to more people? Because I think a lot more people would enjoy biking. It helped me.
Hey, that's the only reason I'm doing it. I'm not a video maker, not yet really do a lot of putting myself out there, but I would love to help as many people as we can.
So I think that as we make the videos and help people to just make cycling a fun thing and a nice pastime, and also be part of that community. The other thing though that I do know you from in a much bigger way would be your professional career. You had mentioned you chose to be a chiropractor just from the experience you had, and then at the same time knowing that it would be a better life balance, it would be better for your family when you get married and have kids, that being able to have a career where I'm at home at night and such versus what you were doing. And so then I've gotten to see your expertise as a chiropractor and your passion for it. And so I've gotten to see too how that benefits our patients. So tell me this though, how is that beneficial that you're a chiropractor and in the cycling world? What do you bring that, like, if you're watching, because you can Google or search on YouTube, there's lots of different experts out there talking about bicycling and such. How is that knowledge from a chiropractor, how is that going to be like really set you apart from the average, these other videos that are out there? What makes you, what bringing that chiropractic in, how does that help?
I think it's huge. And I'm a firm believer that everyone should learn anatomy. You should know the human body because we're all humans. And so that's one thing at chiropractic school we spend more time on, because we don't spend any time on, not much on pharmacology or different procedures. We're just about hands-on, learning about the body, different tissue, what that feels like, how it moves, what inputs change when you introduce a stimulus, what does the body do to react to it? And that's really what training's all about. You introduce stress and you want to induce a response in the body. And then you see side effects of it. Some are good, hey, I'm faster, I'm fitter. Some are bad, muscles get tighter. You see different patterns. So you can see that cyclists have similar patterns, tight hip flexors, we're tight up here, we're hunched over, but it's individual. So everybody's body's different because you bring past experiences. I've got old injuries, broken collarbone twice here, once over here. My shoulders and shoulder blades are going to respond differently than someone who hasn't had that experience. So I think it's more being able to parse through things that are just kind of fluff. There's a lot of gimmicks out there when it deals with health and training. And then there's things that are good but aren't necessary for everybody. So I can kind of help. Same with the bike equipment is you cut through, hey, what's your biggest bang for your buck? And then how do I get to where my goal is quicker? So, hey, it's great for you to do this extra stuff and go and get this stretching done hey, is there a way, should I be stretching before or after? Does it matter? Do I have to do both?
Do I have to do it at all?
Do I have to do it at
'Cause I
all?
hate stretching.
Yeah, it depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
I've got my opinions and I'd argue them.
Yeah.
There's professional cyclists that say, oh, I'd rather my hip flexors be as tight as possible because they're like
Kind of that
rubber
rubber band,
bands.
yeah,
I can get going faster.
Yeah.
Hey, you could argue that, but that's probably why your knees hurt too. So
Yeah.
I would say the expertise is just in knowing the body.
Yeah.
And then like chemistry wise and physiologically, knowing what added stressors will do to your body.
Sure.
And what those stresses are from training on a
Yeah.
bike.
Yeah, and I think that the other thing you would see a lot of is most people that are wanting to get better at a bike need to be training on a bike, right?
Yeah.
Like we all
Yeah.
have probably heard that it is good to cross train,
Yeah.
and I think that that is an important thing.
Yeah.
You should be doing other type of activity,
Yeah.
whether it be strength training, whether it be some stretching, yoga.
Yeah.
Your wife is a
Yeah.
holy yoga instructor,
Yeah.
and so that definitely instills some of that. Hey, I need to be working on my flexibility
Yeah.
as well. But with cycling, again, you really have to put your time on the bike, and
Yeah.
that's definitely one thing I found with that Schwamigan race. Like, hey, if I'm going to be riding on a bike for 2, 3, even 4 hours, is how that race ended up being, just because of all the mud. I've never sat.
Yeah.
I probably had never sat anywhere in my life,
Yeah.
except for when you're driving on a long car ride. And so, and those seats are not
Yeah,
like
it can be unforgiving
yeah,
if you're not used to it.
and so you do have to spend time on the bike,
Yeah.
and so that does create potential for
Yeah.
repetitive injuries,
Yeah.
potential for overuse syndromes,
Yeah.
and so I'm sure that you having that expertise as a cyclist
Yeah.
and the expertise as a chiropractor,
Yeah.
okay, this is what you could be doing to prevent the overuse,
Yeah.
or now you have the overuse, this is how we're going to get rid of the
Yeah.
overuse. Well, speak to that.
Yeah, and you can see the early warning signs. I think that's
Yeah.
where I help the most.
Yes, and
Is,
that-
hey, you don't have that issue yet, but man, I can see the imbalance here, and this is what's going to happen if you don't do something different. So it's instilling the value of things they might not want to do.
Yeah.
All right. So, for example, I quit my rides with 15 minutes to do some cool down
Yep.
work. And I stress the core strength. I usually do that before I ride. So, most people, I got an hour, I'm going to hammer, and then I'm done and I shower and I got to get either to work or wherever else I'm going, and don't have that value for some of the accessory stuff, like the nutrition component of it, and trying out different nutrition strategies, and then also recovery strategies.
Yeah.
Those are the biggest. If you want to train consistently enough to see improvement, you got to work on your recovery.
Yeah, and really, again, that's huge, because if you look at, like I had mentioned, that age group that I saw riding bikes, it's that
It's the middle-aged males in Lycra. We call them mammals.
Yeah, so that's good. I like that. So when you look at when I started to do, say, martial arts or something, I started it in my 20s and actually my late teens, and so I probably didn't have it didn't even cross my mind, like what's the nutrition I need to do and such, because I could just jump into it. And the problem is, I think that a lot of people, when they hit 30, 40, 50, they still think they're 18 years old, 19 years old, and like, hey, I'll just get on that bike, I'll go. And one thing during that race, what I noticed was, man, I am cramping up like I've never cramped before, and pickle juice. I tell you, that was
This is the key. Yeah,
that was very helpful. I was so grateful that they had that on that. But stuff like that, I would never. When they asked me, "Do you want some pickle juice?" I'm like, "Are you insane? Like, why would I drink pickle juice?" But it was so helpful. So that being said, I didn't know that, and so just having those tips, having those kind of giants to come along beside me and help me, and again, it's been helpful that you've been able to do that. And yes, I think the expertise of really understanding the body, because as a chiropractor myself, I see so many people that come in and either they're coming in because they have an injury, but most of the time, though, that injury wasn't like, oh, I picked something up. It was like, I don't know, this kind of came on gradually, and I don't know where it came from. And then I can look at them and say, I know exactly where it came from, and this didn't start the day that you felt it. This started probably a year or two before you actually felt it.
Yeah, usually I can see what they would look like on a bike without seeing them on a bike, just based on how their body is.
So it'd be nice to have that, because I've had injuries from doing martial arts to football to other sports, those and injuries are never fun, and they always set you back. They delay your ability. Like if you're training for a race, I've signed up for this race, and now I don't even know if I can do the race because I'm going to have to do this race without having the training. And so I think that it is huge if someone could point out like, hey, your right glute is firing, but your left glute's not, and I can see that it's twisting your pelvis. You have a short leg because of it. You name it, and so. That expertise could really help people to not end up in that injury status, but be able to.
And that's really why I do it. It's not about, and I got into it, not about the performance, not about the stuff. It was always, hey, I want to be able to meet this goal. So I am goal oriented. I want to do that event. So I want to do that event, and then I want to finish here in that event, or I want to make this team and be able to do that. Those are what set my passions. Hey, I find out what do you want to do? What's your goals? Because that'll change completely how you train, how you approach, and the recommendation I make. Versus if you just want to be healthy, that's usually pretty easy. If you're telling me, oh, well, I want to finish Schwamigan in under 2.5 hours. All right, that's different than if I want to do that. So.
And I would say that most people that are into it, even if they know I can't compete at the level of the professionals, I still want to compete at a high level with people my own age. I want to compete with, and we're seeing people jump into races that probably only professionals used to do. Like you think of like Leadville. I know you're training for Leadville right now, so you're looking at a 100-mile. You're on a mountain bike, but I don't think it's kind
of not really training for it yet. But thanks for reminding me. I probably should be.
But that being said, that's not going to be an easy race. Now you're coming at it from a professional, but there's going to be a bunch of amateurs there that that's just something they've seen it. I've watched some YouTube videos. It inspires me, and who knows, someday maybe I'll jump on that race as well. But I'm not going to take the approach that I would do it without some kind of expert helping me, because we're talking some pretty significant elevation differences and such. So it is, again, just to kind of wind this down, then it is really exciting for us to shoot these videos. If I'm the only one that watches them, we hope that more people do. But if I'm the only one, you're gonna
learn a lot.
Yes, absolutely. And so that it would be helpful that when I'm out there riding, I'm gonna be the best I can possibly be, and be more efficient and such. So as we just conclude this video, again, one thing I really just want to encourage anyone that's watching these, that Dr. John brings an expertise from a physical aspect as a chiropractor, but then has this years of cycling that allowed him to compete at a pretty high level as a professional cyclist. And rather than sit there and try to figure it out on your own, because it can get very time consuming, very expensive to do that, and very frustrating, because it's like I had no idea, like, who do I even turn to ask questions about this, because I'd go to a cycle shop and I'm like, okay, I hear what they're saying, but I also know they're trying to sell me a bicycle. Are they really, like, what they're saying to me, is that true? I don't know. And so it was very helpful to be able to talk to Dr. John. So the nice thing is you get that expertise. You're going to have Dr. John teaching you how to look at cycling in a different way, in a way that is going to be really, again, cut that time, save you money, and save you frustration. So we encourage you to watch these different videos that we're going to be creating. Any final words?
No, I think I just passionate about the bike. I would say when I was racing, I was all in, and then for a few years I sort of took a step back and only recently started riding a little more regularly, and I feel like renewed that passion, and I don't know why I sort of took a step away. I almost looked at it as different careers. Okay, I'm pursuing this, now I'm gonna provide for my family and pursue my professional career, where I think you've done a great job of encouraging me, hey, it's both. This is how you be successful at both. So
Yeah, I
opposite
think
body.
marrying the two, like it's not either or,
Yeah.
it's both. You can
Yeah.
do both, and I
Yeah.
think that's what people.
And
are
biking, the best thing, there's like I found out for swimming, I'm never going to be the fastest swimmer. You got to grow up swimming, have good technique, good body type. But biking, we used to call it a blue collar sport.
Sure.
You put in the time, and that's more what it takes when you're a beginner. You're going to get better.
Yeah.
And so it's almost predictable results. And then if you're not seeing results, it's because you're doing something wrong. And
Yeah.
you can fix those, and then everybody gets faster. So
Yeah, kind of
what I
similar
love
to when you look at if you didn't start hockey when you were 3 years old, it's going to be a really tough road.
Yeah.
Versus you could pick up sports that just include running, like
Yeah.
soccer and stuff. If
Yeah.
you know how to run, which most of us don't,
Yeah.
most of us have ridden a bicycle.
Yep.
We grew up riding
Yep.
bicycles.
Yeah.
We might have been having more fun jumping off of
Yeah.
stuff, but now we want to use bicycling as a way to get healthy,
Yeah.
to travel. I know
Yeah.
lots of people that use it to
Yeah.
go into work and
Yeah.
such, and then to use it as a great pastime and develop a
And
community.
it brings back those memories when you're a kid. There's nothing better than being outside, feeling the wind in your face. And if you ask any cyclist, I mean, that's one of the reasons why we do it.
Yeah.
And being able to ride with my kids is also,
Yeah.
fun.
Again,
fun
I'm very excited. I'm
Yeah.
very excited that you're willing to shoot these videos for us, and just looking forward to learning a lot more for myself and to help others that are in the same situation that I'm in. So thanks, Dr. John.
Yeah, you got it. Thank you.